everyone, and welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Mike, and I'm here with you guys for 2 days of neither one thing nor the other. This is just a fancy way of saying it's not quite that thing, but it's also not quite the other thing. And here we are going to be talking about weird and wonderful animals. Now, of course, there are lots of good examples of weird and wonderful animals, and strange animals have been confusing people for a very long time. Did you guys know that the Romans called the giraffe the camel leopard? They looked at a giraffe and they said, well, it's kind of like a camel, it's got a long neck, but it's got spots like a leopard. Let's just call it a camel leopard. Of course, the name changed to giraffe, but there's one of those old names that we still have today. Did you know hippopotamus means river horse in Greek? It's true, it does. People saw this large, not really horse-like animal living in rivers in Africa, and they said, oh, it's a horse in a river. It's gotten fat because it's absorbed so much water. I don't know exactly what. And of course, there are many other weird and wild animals. We can think of mud skipper fish that are kind of like fish, but also kind of like frogs. And what about bats or flying foxes? We have mice with wings that fly around and flying squirrels. What are those about? But the thing is, these are all real animals from nature. What happens when humans start to play around with animals and we put together combinations that nature would never have a chance to even think of? What happens then? Well, what happens then is we get hybrid animals. Hybrid animals that are neither one thing nor the other. There's something kind of in between. So let's find out all about them.
How great would it be to have a pet that was half dog, half cat, or maybe half cat, half rabbit? Unfortunately, it isn't usually possible for different species to have offspring. But sometimes, if the two species are genetically close enough, they can successfully breed. In these cases, the results are called hybrids. Here are some unique mixes that will make you go wow.
All right, so let's get into part one of neither one thing nor the other. So it is not this thing, it is not that thing either. So let's find out what kind of hybrid animals we're talking about. Here's a question you might never have thought about or even imagined, but well, have a go. How great would it be to have a pet that was half dog, half cat? Imagine that. You come home and you've got a half dog, half cat pet at home. I guess that could work out well in some ways and maybe not so well in other ways. Depends which half is the dog and which half is the cat. Is it an animal that just sleeps all the time and wakes up barking? That wouldn't be so much fun. Or maybe something kind of cool you could take to the park, but it still looks like a cool cat. Or if your imagination goes even further than the simple, or maybe half cat, half rabbit. I think I'd take the half cat, half dog. I like rabbits, but you know, they're a little boring. Back to the article. Unfortunately though, it isn't usually possible for different species to have offspring. That's right, that's why they don't have these dats and cogs down at your local pet store, a half dog cat or a half cat dog, because they are different species. That's right, they're animals, they're even mammals. They're all warm-blooded creatures, but they're just not the same. And cats are in the feline species, dogs are in the canine species. Of course, different dogs, they can have babies together, and different cats, that's possible. But when we take dogs and cats, they're just a little too different on a genetic level. Their DNA just doesn't match up very well. That's because they are different species and whole different branches of the animal kingdom. For example, for this word species, we could say scientists are always discovering new species of animals and plants. I'll point out that you will hear some people saying species or species. Both of them are okay. But sometimes, if the two species are genetically close enough, they can successfully breed. That's right, maybe not as far away dogs and cats having babies or cats and rabbits. But if they're a little bit closer in the animal world, then it is possible. It says in these cases, the results are called hybrids. This is a word you might have heard and think about as cars, like a hybrid car. It has a gas engine and an electric engine. Well, yeah, we call those hybrids too. But basically, you're taking two different things and you're kind of marrying them up. You're making them work together. And that's what happens when these animals can have babies. They create hybrids. Here are some unique mixes that will make you go, wow. We guarantee you will go, wow. Yeah, we're going to be talking about how different species, or different types of animals, I should say, can breed. And when we say breed, this is a verb, we mean make babies. That's right. We don't usually use this with people. So if your aunt and uncle show up and they have a new baby, you can say, oh, look, you're breeding. No, they're people. People don't breed. They have babies. They make families, that kind of thing. But animals, oh, yes. Of course, animals breed on farms. They try to breed pandas in the zoo. You might read that in the newspaper. Or if you like dogs, you might breed dogs, basically have dogs make more dogs, because that's what they do. For example, here's a fun fact. Red pandas breed in winter. I hope they have a warm coat.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们这2天的课程呢，要介绍一些令人惊奇的混种动物。不同的物种通常不可能有后代，但有时候如果这2个物种基因上够相近，它们就可以成功繁殖，产生混种。我们先补充一下 hybrid 这个字，它是名词，表示混种或是杂交种。那么单字 species 或是念作 species， 它表示物种或是种，那它单复数同形哦。再看到 breed， 它当名词可以指动植物的品种，那也可以当动词来表达交配繁殖，或者是为了育种而饲养。那注意它的动词3态是 breed, bred, bred。这边一个重点，我们要进入文法时间。好，这边我们来学习 it is 形容词加不定词 to be 可以表达做某事是怎么样的。那我们也可以用 it is not 加上形容词加不定词 to be 去表达做某事是不怎么样的。好，句型当中的 it 是虚主词，用来代替后面那个真正的主词 to be 的部分。那么 to be 的部分，你前面还可以加上 for 名词去表达执行动作的主体。举例来说 ，It is not easy to break a bad habit。戒掉坏习惯并不容易。It is natural for parents to worry about their children。父母担心孩子是很自然的事。好，接回到课文中。
Taigons. Lions and tigers hardly ever meet in the wild, but they do come face to face in places like zoos. When a male tiger mates with a female lion, the result is a taigon. A taigon looks very much like a combination of its two parents, with light brown stripes on pale brown fur. Like lions, male taigons also have manes, though they're often much shorter than a lion's. Ligers. On the other hand, when a male lion mates with a female tiger, the result is not a taigon, but a liger. Though ligers are similar in appearance to taigons, they are much, much larger. The genes that limit growth in lions and tigers are not passed down to ligers. As a result, adult ligers typically weigh over 400 kilograms, making them the largest of all the big cats.
All right, so now it's time to meet the hybrids. Let's meet some of these weird animals that nature never planned on making. We'll find out all about them. The first one is probably the most famous of the hybrid animals that we might hear about, taigons. That's right, taigons, T-I-G-O-N is the animal, a taigon. And where does that come from? Well, the name and the spelling should give you a good clue. If you don't have a good clue, well, here's the answer. Lions and tigers hardly ever meet in the wild. Well, that's true, but they do come face to face in places like zoos. Yes, as most of you know, lions' natural habitat is in Central Africa. Tigers' natural habitat is in Asia, so unless they have really good travel agents, they don't usually meet on holiday or anything like that. But in zoos, where they bring animals from all around the world into one place, this can happen. And when it happens, and there is enough romance in the air, things can really get interesting. It says when a male tiger mates with a female lion, the result is a Taichung. There you go, tiger and lion. You have a few letters from one, a few letters from the other. And we know which is the male, which is the father, because that's the first part of the name, right? So it's a tiger father, a lion mother. And what would this look like? Well, it says a Taichung looks very much like a combination of its two parents, with light brown stripes on pale brown fur. Well, that's good, because if a Taichung came out and it looked like an elephant, that would be really weird. But it looks like basically a mix between a tiger and a lion, as we described there. Like lions, male Taichungs also have manes. So they have that big bushy extra hair kind of around their necks and down their chest, like lions do, like male, the boy lions, the mature boy lions have a mane, and also male Taichungs have those, though it says they're often much shorter than a lion's. Oh, okay, that's kind of embarrassing. All the lions have their big, sexy mane of hair, and the Taichung's like, my mom's a lion, my dad's a tiger. It's kind of embarrassing. Anyways, we have this word combinations. A combination is basically when we bring two or more things together to create something new. Many times that we make new colors, we'll have a combination of this. As you guys probably know, if you take a little bit of red and a little bit of pink and mix it together, that combination will give you kind of a dark, no, not a good color. Let's talk about taking a little bit of red and a little bit of blue and you get purple. That's a nice combination that you might want to have. And of course, when we cook, we make lots of combinations. We take this food, which is good by itself, this food, which is good by itself, we put them together, we get a new food that's even better, like this dessert. This dessert is a combination of chocolate and strawberry pudding. Sounds very rich and yummy. And we also talked about a Taichung's stripes, because tigers have stripes, as everyone knows, as do zebras. These animals are famous for having stripes. A stripe is basically a band of color that goes through something, and it will be different from the color around it. If you have a shirt, you might have stripes on your shirt going this way or this way. The difference between a line and a stripe is stripes are usually thicker. We also think of stripes maybe decorating an airplane or a race car, you know, something like that where you want to have some different colors. You might put a new color on as a stripe. Let's get back to the natural world. Zebras are black with white stripes. Yes, very famous for that. All right, our next hybrid is basically like the hybrid from before, but just flipped the other way around. And since it's a different way of combining them, we have a different name. Before it was Taichungs, now it's Ligers. You guys can probably figure out which is the father in this case. It says, on the other hand, when a male lion mates with a female tiger, the result is not a Taichung, but a liger, because we have a lion father and a tiger mother, so that's why the name is that way. It says, though ligers are similar in appearance to Taichungs, they are much larger. And since both of these are the two biggest, scariest cats in the world, that's a bigger, scarier cat. That's quite amazing. It says, the genes that limit growth in lions and tigers are not passed down to ligers. So basically these animals have nothing in their DNA that says stop growing. They will keep growing until they eat us all. It says, as a result, adult ligers typically weigh over 400 kilograms, making them the largest of all the big cats. Yeah, tigers are the largest of the species, and these ones are even bigger than that because of this weird mixing of their genes. What are your genes? This is what we talk about when we think of DNA, when we think of the building blocks of life, when we think of the things that give us hair color and eye color that's passed down through our family, through our grandparents to parents. If your dad and mom are tall, your genes probably will work out with you being taller maybe than other people. All of this stuff is coded in our genes, and genes mix to sort of create the bodies and the animals that we have. For example, your genes determine your eye color. Yes, along with many other things, and also whether you're going to be a huge cat or just a really big cat. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We've looked at some of the more famous, well-known hybrids. Come back tomorrow, because that's when things get really freaky. We will meet some super strange but fascinating hybrids, I promise you. So come back for that. Until then, bye-bye.
第一个要介绍的混种动物是虎狮，它是由老虎爸爸和狮子妈妈交配的结果。那么英文是用 tiger 搭配 lion 变成 Taichung， 就是虎狮的意思。那么虎狮看起来很像就是双亲的结合体，淡棕色的毛皮上面有浅棕色的条纹，而且就跟狮子一样，公的虎狮也有鬃毛，不过呢，往往会比狮子的鬃毛短很多。好，单字 combination 就表示结合、组合。那么 stripe 是指条纹、斑纹。下一个介绍的是狮虎，这则是由狮子爸爸和老虎妈妈交配的结果。英文就是用 lion 加上 tiger 变成 liger， 那就是狮虎的意思。狮虎在外观上跟虎狮相似，可是呢，狮虎的体型大很多。能够限制狮子和老虎成长的基因没有传到狮虎的身上，因此呢，成年的狮虎体重通常会超过400公斤，是大型猫科动物里面体型最大的。好，单字 gene 就是指基因或者是遗传因子。这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，来看这个重点是 on the other hand， 是指另一方面。那这个副词片语它可以单独使用，或者是呢，你可以去搭配 on the one hand 来表达说一方面怎么样，另一方面怎么样，去引出两种不同或相反的观点或者是事实。我们来看两个例句。Richard is a quiet person.His sister, on the other hand, is very talkative. Richard 是一个沉默寡言的人，另一方面，他的姐姐则是非常健谈。好，再看一个例句是 On the one hand, I want to buy a new phone, but on the other hand, I'm trying to save money. 一方面我想买一只新的手机，但另一方面我正在设法存钱，好两难啊。好，那么以上件讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
How great would it be to have a pet that was half dog, half cat, or maybe half cat, half rabbit? Unfortunately, it isn't usually possible for different species to have offspring. But sometimes, if the two species are genetically close enough, they can successfully breed. In these cases, the results are called hybrids. Here are some unique mixes that will make you go wow. Taigons. Lions and tigers hardly ever meet in the wild, but they do come face to face in places like zoos. When a male tiger mates with a female lion, the result is a taigun. A taigun looks very much like a combination of its two parents, with light brown stripes on pale brown fur. Like lions, male taigons also have manes, though they're often much shorter than a lion's. Ligers. On the other hand, when a male lion mates with a female tiger, the result is not a taigun, but a liger. Though ligers are similar in appearance to taigons, they are much, much larger. The genes that limit growth in lions and tigers are not passed down to ligers. As a result, adult ligers typically weigh over 400 kilograms, making them the largest of all the big cats.
The owner of Hands Wendy, Jia Wenchong, is the chief of the Arts Street Committee. She has been a fan of fine art since she was a kid. Painting is her favorite genre, but besides traditional painting, she also tackles Japanese air-dry clay. wood painting, and decoupage paper cutouts. You will be amazed by her watercolor painting of the map of the art street, as well as the painted wall she did. Zhuang believes that every traveler needs a souvenir to recall the experience. If you take the time to make a card or clay art, the memory lives on. Zhuang loves to make flower-themed art pieces. In order to give a bride a unique and lightweight bridal bouquet, she creates clay bridal bouquets. These clay bouquets won't die, so the bride can have an everlasting memory. In addition to creating artwork, Zhuang also teaches both kids and adults. She hopes to establish a foundation of art education that people can apply to their daily lives.